Welcome to You Can Call Me Goddess because you're so much more than a queen. My name is Manouk. I am a trained intuitive energy healer specialized in transforming your body and your life. In this podcast, we are going to be diving into everything to unlock the goddess that you are within you. Think of it as the ultimate glow up from the inside out. It's time to unlock your power. It's time to unlock your magic. So sit back and enjoy the show. Hello, beautiful, and welcome back to another You Can Call Me Goddess podcast. And as promised, I did mention that I would be diving into today's topic, and so here we are. Today's topic is one of the most important topics when it comes to achieving the life that you desire, because the thing that is linked to the life that you desire, creating everything that you desire in your life, is your soul path, soul pull. And I don't know about you, but as soon as I got into this world and into this work and got a deeper understanding of how everything worked and why it worked that way, I honestly, it's so funny, didn't even need to be explained why following soul path, soul pull was important. It's so funny because it's like every time, especially if you're a high frequency being and you're developing your intuitive gifts and your knowledge of the laws of the universe and all of this stuff, and you're drawn to this type of content, the moment you hear soul path, soul pull, you immediately are like, yes, that is what I need to do, right? It's so funny. Your soul has an inner knowing that this is, yes, I need to be on my soul path, soul pull. And it's so funny because a lot of us don't even know what does it mean? Soul path, soul pull. So we're going to dive into that a little bit today, but it's very funny that our soul immediately recognizes that when soul path, soul pull comes up, it's like, that's what I need to be on. That is the path that I need to take. That is what I need to succeed at. And it's like we know that that is where the gold is at the bottom of the rainbow, right? Like a leprechaun. We're trying to find where is the gold? Where is everything that we need to achieve the life that we desire, the relationship that we desire, the business that we desire, the financial abundance that we desire. And we all intuitively feel and know on a soul level that our soul path, soul pull is the way for that to happen and to get the most out of it. So that's why I wanted to dive into this today. Not only that, I have received some questions from clients and people that listen to the podcast or, wanted to have a deeper understanding of this, like how I've done reads before where people are like, wait, how am I not aligned with my soul path, soul pull? What does it mean, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I want to dive into that a little bit today and hopefully give you a deeper understanding of that. It's funny because I realize now it's so beautiful how intuition works and you get drawn to certain topics, but it's so beautiful because this whole thing, like everything is linking in so nicely. And that is what I also noticed, because that's what we're going to kind of be talking about today as well, that everything has a link, right? It's all intertwined. It's all interconnected. And if you don't see the connection in certain areas, you're doing yourself a disservice, because then you're missing out a piece that could be life-changing. And that is why I always want you in any situation. I want you because it's going to benefit you. In every situation, take a moment and ask yourself, how is this valuable? Even if because any information that you're getting from anyone, even like a random stranger on the street, is going to give you a piece of the puzzle of where you want to be. So even if you feel like you are fully aligned with your soul path, soul pull, or you're taking steps in that direction and you're not questioning this stuff, this is still going to help you because it's going to give you a grander scale and picture of what is going on. And even from personal experiences, sometimes I'm like, why am I speaking in plural when I'm talking about myself? So sorry about that. I feel like my brain always goes faster than my mouth. So if I ever stop, I'm like, wait, did I say that right? I always have that. So I'm sorry. But anyways, I know this from personal experience because I am on my soul path, soul pull. I am currently on that path. And even then, sometimes you don't realize that certain components are part of your soul path, soul pull that you would have neglected if you didn't put these puzzle pieces together. So we're going to dive into all of that today, and this is going to hopefully help you get a deeper understanding of this, especially because when you hear soul path, soul pull, and you feel like you're not aligned, we want to look at the end goal, and we keep focusing on what the end goal of the soul path, soul pull is, instead of seeing that you are collecting all the pieces to get to the end goal. I will explain that a little bit further, but basically I love how intuition works, because over the past few episodes we've been kind of going on this journey, and all of this stuff has led us to talking about the soul path, soul pull. So having a deeper understanding of why maybe you have been disconnected from your power on a society's level, right? Because the more you connect with your power, the more you realize that you can create things on your own and change lives in a way that you never expected you could, change your own life, and you wouldn't be dependent on certain systems that are keeping you kind of stuck where you are right now. And on top of that, even talking about last week's episode and the week before that, where we spoke about anti-aging, it's like when you start realizing that you have more time than you think that you do, and you take that pressure cooker off, it creates more space for you to start creating. And then last week's podcast about how you feel like you're trying everything and nothing seems to get you where you want to be, and showing you how actually that is not the reality. The reality is, because you feel like you're doing everything, it's probably, and you haven't received or achieved the thing that you want to achieve, it's probably because you're meant to have a mastery over that. Or you're just missing that one puzzle piece that is going to get you further. Maybe today's podcast is that puzzle piece. And so that's why today all of this so beautifully ties into your soul path, soul pull, because let's really talk about it. Your soul path, soul pull is basically your destiny. So even when you look at self-love, self-image healing, all of that is tied into your soul path, soul pull. So what this means is basically you are here in this realm, on this planet, to walk your specific path. So each and every one of us have our own soul path, soul pull. That is the journey of our soul in this life. And we are each designed perfectly for that specific soul path, which means, again, tying in that self-image healing, a lot of the time we are beating ourselves up about, not being the way that we should be, or not looking the way that we should be, or having some things about ourselves that we quote unquote dislike, when in reality, all those things about yourself were specifically designed to be able to go through life's experiences, to get you on a specific path, to go through certain situations and circumstances, but also to have the characteristics to do what you're meant to be doing in this life. Even your body, right? Your body is the same thing. Whether that is communications or struggles with the body that I know I've had, they have brought me on my soul path. Not only that, the way that you are built is specific to your soul path. Looking at me, which is so funny. I don't know, I would probably have to actually intuitively look in on that more. But I have, it ties in with a lot of things. I have incredibly flat feet, super random thing. Like, why would Source create me to have incredibly flat feet? Right? Well, maybe because I needed to heal my self-image with that and get a deeper understanding of, with me being tall and also maybe having, a bigger shoe size and things like that, still seeing my beauty and my femininity and honing in on that. But then maybe on another level, it actually, because I have a very specific passion hobby that I've discovered recently, and I think my flat feet really aid in that passion hobby. And if I wouldn't have had that, maybe I wouldn't be as good at this passion hobby if I had more curvature in my feet. Super random, I know. But I'm just giving you like like a very specific example of how this works. So each and every component on your body and each and every component about you has been designed in this life specifically for the path that you are meant to be walking. So nothing is by chance. Does that make sense? Yeah, no, it's not by chance. It's all designed that way. And then how you choose to walk the path, that is dependent on you. So basically, you got to kind of see your soul path is in front of you. And the more you ignore that's why reflections are also so incredibly important, to have a deeper understanding of them, whether they be in the body, whether they be in the outside world, because reflections pop up. So basically reflections, the feedback and the mirroring that you're getting from the universe that cause obstacles or struggles or things like that, they are showing up in your life because you might be veering off of your path. And the moment you veer off of your path, it's these reflections that try to put you back onto your path. The more we ignore those reflections, the more we ignore the obstacles that we are getting and creating because we are not following the path that is meant for us, the more the universe, your higher self, your body, everything is going to try and push you back onto that path. And obviously, we can be freaking stubborn when it comes to these things, right? And so a lot of the time, we don't listen to that path. We ignore it. And the more you ignore these reflections and these things that your body's communicating to you, the universe is communicating to you, your partner is communicating to you, the more you actually prolong your pot of gold. So getting to your pot of gold, right? So we're veering off. And the more you veer off of your path, the harder it's going to be to get to the pot of gold, to get to the end goal, to get on that soul path, soul pull, and get the things that you've been asking for. So why I'm mentioning this is because I had this question before where I looked in on someone and we intuited how much this person was on their soul path, soul pull. And it was such a good question because I got like 34 or 43 or something along those lines %. And she asked me, she was like, yeah, but how can that be if you're always on your path, Well, how that can be is basically the more you ignore the signs or the pushes to go into a certain direction, whether that be, for example, you're getting these pushes from the universe to invest in yourself, to follow a specific course, or to work through relationship struggles, or to learn more about the body, or whatever it is, right? The more you ignore those pushes, or to heal your self-image and get deeper into healing your self-image, and the ego can be strong. The ego can try and deflect you and remove you from going through that stuff because you're in fight or flight and you don't want to go down that path because it feels uncomfortable. The more we ignore that, the harder it is to get you back on the path. So basically, when you're 100% aligned with your soul path, soul pull, you are taking actions fully aligned with the path that is meant for you. So let's get actually a quick explanation of the soul path, soul pull. So we often link the soul path, soul pull to a career or vocation. So the vocation area of life is basically the soul path, soul pull career. So the career that is meant for you in this life, what you are designed to do, the life change that you are meant to bring about in this life, whether that be on a personal level or for other people, what you're meant to be doing in this life to create change, right? To create change in the universe, in this world, in your soul's journey, etc. And the thing is, we often focus on the career, which is great because we want to be on that path to achieve the career. But what ends up happening is we don't realize that other components of our journey are interlinked into that. So being on your soul path, soul pull also means learning and new skill sets and understandings and knowledge and taking aligned actions with your true self. Doing things like that also mean that you are more aligned with your soul path, soul pull. So the more you dive into certain concepts and understandings and gain skill sets that are aligned with your soul path, soul pull, that means you are more aligned with your soul path, soul pull. It's not only the work that you are doing. And so this is where it gets where people get like, I don't know, I guess it's like impatient slash concern that they are not on their path, is when, for example, they are working a job or doing something that is quote unquote not their soul path, soul pull. So not in their soul path, soul pull career. So for example, I am 100% in my soul path, soul pull career, right? Someone else could be working a 9-to-5 job somewhere else that is not in their soul path, soul pull. However, they need to be in that career maybe to gain the knowledge, understandings, and concepts to be able to be on their soul path, soul pull. And that's where a lot of people get mixed up, confused, or feel like they are off track or off path. Sometimes you still need to be in that career, and getting out of the career that you are in right now actually slows down you being able to achieve your soul path, soul pull. If I look back at all the experiences that I've had in my life, and I want you to do the same, think about it. Think about all your previous experiences that you've had in your life and all the knowledge that you've gained. I, for example, have worked in sales. I am a certified nutritionist and personal trainer. I have worked as a manager in a company, in a business. So all of these experiences, if I looked at each and every one of those careers and each and every one of those things as not being on my soul path, soul pull, I would have probably missed out on so many skill sets, so much knowledge, and maybe I wouldn't even have gotten where I am today. Because without those, the knowledge that I gained, the experience that I've gained in each and every one of the roles that I played there, and each and everything that I did in each and every one of those roles, I would have not had all the puzzle pieces and all the understandings that I have today to be able to do what I am doing now, to have a deeper understanding of what everything is. And that's where I see a lot of people get confused because we always want to be at the end goal. And it's so funny. I've mentioned this before as well. It's like I sometimes have these epiphanies when I'm working out. That's why it's so important also not to just like keep yourself stuck behind a laptop trying to create, because it's out there where you're learning things. It's out there where you're gaining experience for your soul path, soul pull, for what you're meant to be doing. That's where the intuitive information sometimes comes in, not when you're putting pressure on it. But I was, for example, and forgive me if I've already mentioned this before, but I was, for example, running on the treadmill, and I remember in the treadmill, I had this like epiphany moment because I decided I'm very like hard on myself still in the gym. Sometimes I like to work hard and I want to achieve results, and I'm like that in a lot of other areas of life. So I learn a lot from these different areas of life. And so I was running on the treadmill, and I got this intuitive hit to not start at like a 10 speed, but start at like a 9 speed, and then every 2 minutes speed it up with 0.1. And so I did that. And as I was running, I could hold out on the treadmill for so much longer than when I went on 10 speed and then tried to reach 11, 12 by the end. When I did that in the past at like 20 minutes, I was like, I want to be done. 30 minutes, I didn't want to go anymore. But this time, and stick with me, I'm going to explain to you why this. Maybe you're already seeing the link here. But this time I did that. I started slowly and I set little goals for myself. And what I learned as I was running, I was like, oh my God, I can go on for so much longer right now. And I can run at it was such a comfortable speed. It was easier. I got to run longer. And also I felt more fulfilled and energized at the end of the run. And I felt like I could have gone for an extra 20, 30 minutes instead of if I try to speed it up immediately. And so why I'm saying this is I have these epiphanies a lot when I'm working out where I realize the link. I had this epiphany. I was like, yeah, because when we're so focused on getting to the end goal and needing to speed up and needing to be able to do it in the fastest way possible, we actually shoot ourselves in the foot. We only focus on where we want to be at the end of it. We only focus on what we need to achieve by the end of it, instead of seeing the incremental steps that we can start taking and how these incremental steps are getting us more comfortable and also getting us in a space. So for example, that those 2 minutes, okay, now I'm comfortable at this speed, let me speed it up now. And so every single time I sped it up a little bit more, and it didn't feel as hard on me as trying to jump to the highest speed possible, being able to hold that for the longest speed possible. So this is a great analogy for how you're maybe trying to achieve success in whatever area of life, right? This can be applied in all areas of life. But right now, when it comes to the soul path, soul pull, we're focusing too much. A lot of the time we end up focusing too much on where we need to be. Like, what is my thing? That is the question. And I had the same question. What is my thing? What is the thing that I'm supposed to be changing lives with? And when we focus too much on that, we actually stop ourselves from absorbing all the information that eventually is going to mold and shape what we are going to be doing in this life, what we're meant to be creating in this life. So every situation, every circumstance, every piece of knowledge and skill sets that you are learning along the way is part of your soul path, soul pull. Your relationship could be is part of your soul path, soul pull. What you're going through in real time and how you're applying the tools that you're gaining along the way is part of your soul path, soul pull. Because without those experiences, if you're just reading text and knowledge that you've learned over the years, but you have no experiences or knowledge to back it up with, you're gonna feel unrooted to what you're teaching, right? Because you haven't experienced it, you don't know how it works. So how is anybody meant to trust you in what you're doing if you don't even know if it works for you personally? And that is what we connect with. Even me, I remember when I struggled with my OCD, and I had like bad OCD symptoms, and I went to one psychologist, and this psychologist was a yes woman. Like, she was just constantly like babying me and all of this stuff, and I hated it because I was like, you're literally not giving me anything to work with here, and I don't know, like I just didn't like the energy. And then the moment I started working with this guy who worked with energy, so immediately I was drawn to that more, even back then. But he was telling me his personal experience of struggling with OCD. And the way he explained it made me feel like he understood exactly what I was going through, because he did. And because of that, I was so much more eager to listen to this guy than I was to listen to anybody else, because I was like, he gets it. And the things that you are going through right now is what is getting you that level of validity, right? That level of being verified to be able to do this, to have that experience, for people to be able to connect with you. And that's why the things that you're going through, the experiences that you're having, are what is getting you that level of trust that you are going to gain with the clients, with the people that you end up working with, because it's your personal stories, it's the things that you're going through that people are connecting with. And when you have been in one situation and completely transformed it into something else through obstacles, through growth, through applying the tools that you've been gaining and growing through, that is what people want to see. If we see someone who is just successful, we relate with them a lot less than if they've struggled through the hard stuff and now they are successful, because now we're like, okay, I can learn from this person. They've been where I have been. And so therefore I can listen to them because they've made it to the other side. And that can be applied again in every other area. If you look at professionals that you've worked with and you've trusted, a lot of the time these professionals have been in places that are similar to yours or that you can identify with. They figured out a solution to it, and that's why you're listening to them. So this is my long-winded way of giving you an explanation of why each and every component of what you're going through right now is part of your soul path, soul pull. And that's where I tie in certain things where a lot of the time, at least in my experience, even me, right? There's like a fight or flight moment where we don't want to go into the uncomfortable stuff. So I right now am I love my soul path, soul pull. I love what I'm doing. I love what I'm creating. I love to see you guys grow and see you guys, step into your power and realize the creator power that you hold. And so I'm so focused on that. I'm so focused on creating that what happens is, and that's what we all have to learn. We end up falling into this where you have to realize that there has to be a balance in all the areas. And what we end up doing is we end up neglecting certain areas of life because we don't see how it is impacting our soul path, soul pull, but it's the real life experiences and the knowledge that you back up with the teachings that you're giving or the stuff that you're meant to be doing. When you have those real life experiences, that gets you more rooted to what you're teaching, to what you're creating. So I'll give you my personal example with relationship stuff. A lot of the time, I want to put that for me in my mind when, subconsciously, it's definitely a priority. But me in my conscious mind is going, that's not a priority right now. We want to focus on career. We want to focus on soul path, soul pull. We want to make sure that we're fully invested in this. But when I do that, and when any of you do that, and you're only focusing on that one thing, you're missing the gold that you're probably going to gain in the other areas of life. So with that being said, with the relationship, me applying the tools that I'm learning to a certain degree in the relationship is going to give me more proof and show me that this stuff really works and starts to shift my life. And what we end up doing is we start to neglect that area of life because we don't see the immediate effect it's having on our soul path, soul pull career. And we can't because we keep neglecting it. Does that make sense? So it's like we keep neglecting something when that's the one thing that is going to shift our reality, is going to get us to root more to the results that we're getting, is going to shift our creator field, which is then going to create more of what we desire and get us more aligned with our soul path, soul pull. So, and I see this a lot also with, for example, because I know like fitness is one of my main things. And it's funny because I see this a lot. And I even saw this before I got into the intuitive space and the energy healing space, that people seem to neglect. And it's so interesting, right? The physical body and taking care of their body because they're so focused on success and career and other things that in their mind have more of a priority, when in reality, the thing that is going to get them where they want to be is probably taking care of their body and putting themselves first there and getting a deeper understanding of what their body needs. That is going to put them in a better headspace to create what they desire. And yeah, that is where I always see the links of certain things, that we need each and every puzzle piece. So when it comes to the soul path, soul pull, and what we're meant to be doing here, I want you to try and detach from it just being the career aspect of it. That's kind of where I'm wanting to go with this. It's the career, and what you're going to be doing is how you are going to impact other people's lives and how you're going to bring about a bigger change. And the thing is, even when you're in the soul path, soul pull career, you're constantly going to be evolving. So maybe what you're doing right now in your soul path, soul pull career is 100% aligned with your soul path, soul pull, but that might shift and probably will change into something else where you drop 30% of what you've been doing and then add in another 30% and then start shifting your soul path, soul pull into something else, because it's all a way to get to the end goal, into what you're creating. And that involves constant change, constant growth, enhancing skill sets, trying different things in your soul path, soul pull career to create the end goal, to end up at the end of the rainbow with your pot of gold, right? So being open to the fact that right now you are taking steps towards your soul path, soul pull, or you're 100% in your soul path, soul pull, that still means that you want to make sure that you are seeing how each and every area of your life is impacting your soul path, soul pull. It's these real life experiences that get you honed in on what you're teaching, on what you're doing, and it's probably going to give you the inspiration of what you get excited about and what your soul path, soul pull vocation career is going to be. That is the only way that you're going to find out. So we end up often focusing on not being there yet. And that's kind of where the law of focus also kicks our ass, right? Because we end up then focusing on how we're not on our soul path, soul pull. So we keep on focusing on how we're not there yet. So then we start broadcasting out, I'm not there yet. Instead of if you can start seeing how each and every component of your life is getting you on your soul path, soul pull, career and path. When you can start seeing that and putting that together, so even when you're in a 9-to-5 job that maybe doesn't excite you so much, how can you start implementing the knowledge that you have and the things that excite you about soul path, soul pull, and start implementing them in your daily life, in your career, in your relationships, in your hobbies, in conversations that you're having with your kids, with your pets, all of this stuff, with colleagues. Like, how can you start implementing that? Because this is all what it's meant for. It's starting to squeeze the juice out of the lemon that is your life. You're leaving certain areas untouched and not seeing how they could be the tools to getting you where you want to be. And that is because we are always so focused, and I'm guilty of this too. We're so focused on the end goal. And what we end up doing when we keep focusing on that end goal, not only do we get overwhelmed because we're like, how the hell am I going to get there? When I think about everything that I had to create or that I created in my business, if I thought about being here right now, where I am right now, and I thought about what it would take to end up having a podcast, doing webinars, having courses online, having coaching sessions, gaining clients. If I had to look at the end goal right now, building a website, and it needed to all be done in one day, can you imagine? Like, I remember thinking that, like, how the hell, when I first started out doing my own business, I was like, how the hell am I going to do all of that? I have no idea how to create these things. But when you start realizing that step by step, you're going to gain the knowledge and understanding, it's so much easier. You end up one day waking up, having all these systems in place that you never thought you would be able to create. And that's why when we keep focusing on where we need to be, and I'm going to put in another running analogy, because I love, these things are just so tangible for me and it makes so much sense. When I was running, it's so funny. When I was running outside, I had I'm sure you can all identify if you've ever gone for a run before. You go for a run on the boulevard. I would run on the boulevard here, and I would look at the end state, like where I would end, and then turn around and go back. I was like, oh my God, that's so far. And every time I would think about how far I would need to run and how far that place was, I would not want to do it anymore. And it would make it less enjoyable for me. And I'm sure you can experience that in other areas. Like when you keep thinking about how much more you've got to do and you look at the end goal, instead of just taking small steps towards it, it's going to be overwhelming and you're not going to end up taking the actions. Then one day I decided, we have a track in front of my house, and it's like small circles. I think it takes me like 4 minutes to go around the track once, or 3 minutes even. And I remember someone telling me, like, you should try it. I was like, oh, that's so boring, like running in circles the whole time. But it's so funny. I did it, and I started running in circles around the track. And every time I made one more circle, I was like, okay, I can do this again. And then I did it again. I was like, okay, I can go one more time. It was so much more motivating because I was like, okay, one more time. I can do one more time. So what I gathered from this running experience, see, the real life examples are out there when you're doing them. That's when you're going to get the clicks. When I was doing this, I was like, it's because I'm not focused on where I need to end up. I'm just focused on moving forward and seeing if I can do it again, and seeing if I can add on a little more speed, and seeing how many times I can go. And it was like the goal of doing one more round and one more circle that got me motivated and excited. It's the same with the 2 minutes. It's like, okay, 2 more minutes and then we'll speed up. 2 more minutes and then I can see if I can speed up again. And that's what I'm trying to say here. It's taking away the focus on where you need to be and thinking about how each and every step that you are taking right now is getting you there, because it's all getting you there. It's all holding valuable information. Everything. And if you're skipping out and missing out on certain things, you're actually stopping yourself from getting that knowledge, getting that rootedness in the physical actions in the physical world and the experiences that you're having that are helping you build your path and move on your path. If it weren't for the experiences that you're having right now, you wouldn't create the soul path, soul pull that you would, because you wouldn't have anything to back it up with. You wouldn't have the lived experiences to back it up with. And I'm guilty of this too. I will raise my hand 100%. I have that sometimes, and that's when our fight or flight kicks in, where we're like, ugh, I don't want to deal with that because my career, my soul path, soul pull is the most important thing right now. But it's the thing that you don't want to deal with and that you're triggered about and that you don't want to face that is probably going to give you the life change that you've been looking for. And I know this because I need to do that more too. There's always another level to reach. And that's what I spoke about in the last podcast. It's like, you think it's like, why is this so hard? It's because there's another level for you to reach. You're meant to master this. You're meant to be this. You're meant to have this great, amazing life. But to be able to have that great, amazing life, you need to, first of all, prove to the universe how badly you want it. Second of all, you need to prove to yourself that you're willing to freaking go through the shit to do it. And third of all, going through that is what is going to give you the lived experiences, the rootedness, and also the tools in your toolkit to be able to create the things that you are wanting to create. Without those lived experiences, without the obstacles, without the reflections that you're going through, without life, there's nothing to teach, there's nothing to coach on, there's nothing to create. So if right now, this is what I want you to start realizing. If right now you are asking yourself, am I on my soul path, soul pull? I want you to, first of all, see how are the things that I'm doing right now aiding my soul path, soul pull? What is it that I want? What kind of a life change? So what are the obstacles that I've been through? And how have I come out on the other end of it? What have the experiences been that have got me on the other end of it? What are the tools that I used? And how can you start growing those tools, those skill sets in your life right now? And the only way that you will not be on your soul path, soul pull, or veer off too much is when you ignore basically the triggered moments. So if you listen to the ego too much, and that's where you want to learn about reflections, you want to have a deeper understanding of how the universe is communicating to you, because that's going to help you. When you start having a deeper understanding of these things, that's going to help you get a deeper understanding of what it is that you need to shift, right? When your body's communicating to you, when the universe is communicating to you, and also when you develop your intuition, that is one of those things that really helps you move those things along, because then you can intuitively tap in and actually speed up certain processes. Things that would have maybe normally taken you a long time. When you have intuitive insight in these things, they are going to help you maybe bypass certain obstacles, or not bypass, but move through them faster, because you're going to see what lesson you're meant to learn from those situations so that you can see if you're on track or not, or if you need to move through that and what it's going to give you. And then maybe you can find another way to gain that experience, to gain that knowledge, because we don't want to bypass anything that is going to enhance the things that we are going to create. And the way that you upgrade and the way that you enhance is through obstacles. The only thing that we can do is make those obstacles easier on ourselves and get a deeper insight of what we're meant to learn from them, to either find a way to learn that through a lower type of obstacle, or to shift through it in an easier way by using your knowledge as an intuitive, having the spiritual tools and the spiritual understandings to shift through those things in an easier way. So what I'm trying to say with this is that if you feel like you are not aligned with your soul path, soul pull, it is probably because you've been ignoring certain signs or gut feels or certain pulls that you've been having towards things. So if, for example, you have something that you want to learn, a skill set or something that you want to invest in, or maybe a job opportunity that pops up, or a relationship that you're struggling with, or something with the body that you're struggling with, the more that you ignore it or you turn your back on that opportunity or that growth, the more you're going to probably see signs from the universe. And that's where sometimes you want to make sure that it's actually an intuitive hit and not an emotional hit. The more you're going to see signs that are trying to get you back on that path, trying to get you moving towards that. The things we often avoid or we have resistance towards, or the things that are eliciting a big reaction in us, are often the things we want to run away from. And a lot of the time when we want to run away from those things, they're often the things we are going to gain the biggest understandings from and learn the most things about. And that is what is going to get us the experience, the knowledge, the understandings that we need. And we know when we're in an insecure mindset of fearful of taking certain actions, fearful of fully showing ourselves and being who we are, fearful of facing certain struggles. So in the relationship, for example, with me, it's because I feel like I don't want to move forward in certain ways, right? Because it's going to cost me too much energy. So obviously I'm in fight or flight there, and I have this resistance there, when in reality, that is when I move through that is going to shift a lot of things. If, for example, you're struggling with the body and you don't want to face struggles in the body, it's probably giving you a sign that you want to move, that you should shift through that, because that is what is going to give you the biggest life change. And the more you ignore it, the more you veer off of the path. Probably the louder the obstacles and the reflections become until you realize that you need to get back on that path. So all of these reflections, all of these obstacles that you're experiencing are nudging you back onto your soul path. So when I get the question, does that mean I'm not on my soul path, soul pull? When we talk about being aligned with your soul path, soul pull, it just means you're taking all the actions that are aligned with your soul path, soul pull, that are aligned with creating what you're meant to be doing in this life. And the more you ignore these pulls, these heart pulls, these inner soul pulls, these ideas, and you ignore things that you know you should be facing and signs, that is what is veering you off of the path. And the thing is, the more you veer off of the path, the more you ignore the internal pulls that you are feeling towards something, that is when you basically either extend the time that it will take you to achieve the results that you want in your life. Also, you're probably going to create more obstacles for yourself. And if the longer you stay and move away from those pulls, the longer you are stopping yourself from creating the life that you desire. And that's where probably your ego is taking over too much, and you want to connect with your soul and actually see what path you're meant to be taking. So yes, you can be partially aligned with your soul path, soul pull, but if you keep veering off, and if you keep ignoring the inner voice, the inner knowing that you should be doing something, taking action on something because of either fear or worry or a lack mentality or an insecurity, the longer you kind of prolong yourself from achieving the things that you desire. And then if you let that happen for too long, and I'm sure you can all think of someone in your life that keeps ignoring and doesn't actually stay connected with who they are, with what the universe is communicating to them, they end up not actually living the life that was meant for them, or at least reaching the potentials of their life. And that is all because of bad programming pushing you in the wrong direction. And that's why we want to connect you with your true self, with your path, with your intuition, with your inner knowing, because then you can get a clear idea of what steps you need to take. And obviously that is why when you hear soul path, soul pull, your soul feels pulled towards that, because you're like, yes, I want to be on that path, because we all know on a soul level that that's the path that is going to get us the things that we so deeply desire in our life, the things that we want to create so badly. Because the more you become aligned with your soul path, soul pull, the bigger the life change you can create for other people and for yourself, like on a personal level for yourself. That the more you feel like things are not moving in the direction that you desire. So you know that feeling where you feel like you're taking all the actions, you're doing all the things. We spoke about that last week. The more you feel like that and the things aren't moving, it could be because you're not fully on your soul path, soul pull. It could be because you're missing a component to achieve the result that you want on your soul path, soul pull. For each and every one of us, we have a specific set of skill sets that we need to develop, a specific set of knowledge that we need to develop, experiences that we need to go through to be able to create the thing that we desire. And so if it's been feeling hard, or if you feel like you've been ignoring an inner voice, you're basically just setting yourself back and prolonging the time that you have to achieve the result that you desire. And obviously when we have intuition, we can actually look in and see, okay, how much has this slowed down your soul path, soul pull? Or are you still on track if you shift X, Y, and Z? What is it that you are missing to be able to be on your soul path, soul pull? Is there a skill set? Is there an inner knowing? Is this job the one that is going to keep you aligned with your soul path, soul pull? Or is there a better option? Is there something else you need more knowledge on? So obviously there we can tap in and look in what it is that you need to fully be more aligned with your soul path, soul pull. But a lot of the time it's just getting a deeper understanding, following those pulls, not ignoring them, moving through the obstacles, moving through the blocks, and connecting back to how certain situations and circumstances that you are experiencing are aiding and growing and giving you the knowledge, giving you the experience that you need to eventually fulfill that soul path, soul pull vocation. And maybe right now what you're doing is exactly what you need to be doing for your soul path, soul pull. So the message I want to give you here mainly is that don't get too hung up on what it needs to look like. Start focusing on what you are creating already, how you can implement the knowledge, what skill sets you can gain, all the things the puzzle pieces that you need to collect to fully being on your soul path, soul pull. And don't ignore the inner voice. Don't ignore the inner knowing. And don't let human self be too stubborn about things that you don't want to face, because the things that you don't want to face a lot of the times are the things that are going to bring about the biggest breakthrough and going to probably get you more aligned with things. And sometimes that takes a leap of faith. I have taken multiple leaps of faith because I knew that it was part of my soul path, soul pull. My soul, my higher self, not letting me off the hook and being like, that taking this risk, taking this leap of faith, investing in yourself, whether that be through knowledge, through time, through financial investment, the scarier thing is probably the one that is going to bring about the biggest life change for you. And you will know that inner feeling. I feel like we all have that inner feeling when we know we have to do something, because we know that's the thing that's going to bring us further. So little understanding of soul path, soul pull. Soul path, soul pull is basically the path that you're meant to be walking in this life to create the life that you desire, to achieve the things that you have been wanting to achieve in your life. When you're fully aligned with your soul path, soul pull, you are going to start creating that financial abundance that you desire, because then you're aligned. When you're aligned with your path, the money will follow. When you're aligned with your path and you walk through these things and you learn and you gain these experiences, your love life will also be impacted by that, because the more you're connected with your true self, the more you are on your soul path, soul pull, the more you are going to start shifting internally. Because if you've listened to previous podcasts, the soul path, soul pull is also based off of the soul lesson. It's all interlinked, and each and every one of us have a soul lesson to overcome, and they all come from self-love and self-image. And when you heal that, you not only heal so many things, so many limiting beliefs that maybe have been making it more difficult to achieve the things that you desire, but it also makes it so much easier to be on that path. It will start attracting the things that you want in your life because you're going to be more fulfilled. But the first step is to realize how you can implement these things. Like I said, we often focus on where we need to be that we forget about the golden nuggets that we're getting along the way. We're so focused on being in the wrong place when it's your creator power that gets to create the situation that you are in. So if you are in a situation that you feel like you're in the wrong place to create what you want, you internally need to shift and change your inner state, your inner knowing, your inner limiting beliefs, and that will start shifting your reality. It's the same thing with, for example, in a relationship. A lot of the time, people want to leave a relationship before it is time to leave the relationship because they're getting uncomfortable. When in reality, they are faced with lessons and reflections from the partner that are trying to get them to grow and shift. And when they shift and grow and get to a good spot there, that's when you're actually in a place to be like, you know what? Actually, this is great. We have a great relationship, but I'm still missing something. When you are in a heightened emotional state and you just want to leave because you're uncomfortable, then you haven't actually, because the uncomfortability is where we grow, you haven't actually faced the things that you can grow through. And so then those same issues are going to pop up in the next relationship. So think about your career. Think about your career in that way. If you are trying to achieve your soul path, soul pull, and you're uncomfortable in your career, and you can't see the beauty, the strength, the fulfillment in the career that you have right now, then you don't have the tools in your toolkit yet to work through things to make the things that are undesirable more fulfilling. I hope that's making sense. For one of you, for sure, this will apply. But what I'm trying to say here is that all of these things are here. Where you are right now, the environment you're in right now is not always the issue. Well, almost never. It's how you feel about it within. If you can create an amazing situation out of a shit situation, so if you're in the most difficult place in your life and you can create and make that the best place you could ever be in your life, then you basically, can you imagine if you're then in the best place? So if, for example, you want to move to a different country where you feel like things are more accessible, I'm speaking from experience here again. If you can make a successful situation out of something that seems impossible to be successful, then imagine if you're in a spot where success is inevitable, and then you, on top of that, have the tools to make any situation successful. You're going to blow up like crazy. And this applies in every situation. You are being set up for your soul path, soul pull. You're just not seeing it. And the only way that you are off your soul path, soul pull is if you keep ignoring the signs, the heart pulls, everything that your higher self is trying to get you on. And the more you listen to those, the more aligned you get, the more you start seeing all the ingredients that is creating the life that you desire, the more you start shifting and becoming aligned with your soul path, soul pull. All right. If at any point you were confused about anything that I was saying in this podcast, then I did not explain it properly. And please reach out, let me know. And I am happy to help clarify anything, dive deeper into anything. If you're still feeling stuck with anything that I mentioned and you're still like, yeah, but I'm still doing all the things, I feel like I'm aligned with my soul path, soul pull, things are not shifting yet. That may mean that maybe you need some extra piece of information that you are missing. We can always intuitively look in and see what is jamming you up, what is stopping you from achieving that result. And if there is anything or anyone that could help you move the needle forward to shift that thing, because sometimes we do need a different perspective. We need an extra tool to get us further. And if you feel like that is the case, please reach out. We can always intuitively look in and see what it is that you need to shift, who you may need to reach out to get that shift, what you need to work on, and then we can start moving the needle forward. You are here to change lives. You are here to have an incredible impact, and you are so much more powerful than you even know. Once you have the right tools, the right understandings, and your higher self will lead you there, the more open you are to them, the more ready you are to start shifting your reality, you will be rewarded when you keep following those heart pulls and going through the hard stuff to get to the end goal, because your soul path, soul pull journey may not always be the easiest, but I promise you it will be the most rewarding. So thank you so much for listening to this. I hope that it shifted some perspectives for you. And I can't wait to see you in the next episode. Thank you so much, and have such an amazing rest of your evening, day, night, afternoon. And I hope to see you very soon. Thank you so much for listening to You Can Call Me Goddess. I am so happy that you joined us in this show today. If you feel like this podcast gave you any sort of life change or value, then share it with someone you think would also get a lot of value out of it, because maybe it could just be that one thing that changes that person's life. If you enjoyed the show, please give it a nice rating below or in the show, because we would love to expand more on topics that you enjoy and keep this podcast up and running. Anyways, thank you, beautiful, and I hope to see you in the next podcast.